Buckle up, excellence junkies, because this podcast is definitely for you. Welcome to Rocket Fuel. Do you wish that you could surround yourself with people that love to kick ass just like you? Well, come to my party, baby, and meet some of the brightest stars in the entrepreneurial galaxy, because it is my mission to give these entrepreneurs a platform to declare what they are on this planet to accomplish and to show you why they are rocket fuel. And we're live. Hey guys. Oh my goodness, my dear Rocketeers. This is an awesome episode, because this is dedicated to those of you that have dreams of becoming an entrepreneur and you have a really well-paying job, right? But we're going to talk about escaping the cubicle. I wish I had this discussion way back when, 16 years ago, when I started my business for my high-paying corporate job. And today we have an expert, Martine Cadet, who is the founder of the Escape the Cubicle Mastermind. And she is going to talk about how she did it and how she helps other people do this. Woo! Round of applause. You know, I need to get sound effects. Hello, Martine.
Oh, so good to be here. Thank you. I'm excited. Hey, Rocketeers. Is that what we call each other? I love it. We are about to have an amazing conversation in regards to escaping this corporate lifestyle. Listen, I've been there. I get it. I know it. And I cannot wait to have the conversation with you, Wanda.
So tell me, I mean, it's not that it's bad. Right? So can you kind of explain that feeling of you had a very well-paying job, and so what was it that caused you to say, I want something more? A lot of people would say, what the hell are you complaining about, right? Like you're doing just fine. So tell me about that journey.
Oh, absolutely. I remember like it was yesterday. Listen, it was a six-figure high income salary, traveling all over the world. I've been to Asia several times, India, Southern China, Shanghai, Hong Kong, Paris, London, you name it, first class with this job. Yet part of me felt like, seriously, am I going to do this until I'm 65, 67 years old? What it is? And listen, like you said, it's not that it's bad. I enjoyed my job at one point. I just hit a plateau. And to be honest with you, there was a situation that happened at work one day during reviews, annual reviews, right? You know, the ones where you have to sit down and put your reviews in hopes that you get that promotion, in hopes that you get 2% raise. And it doesn't happen. So it was annual reviews. And I remember clearly going to my boss and saying, you know what, I'm going to be honest with him and tell him that I don't like this position anymore. I want to do something else. I'm not feeling fulfilled. I'm not feeling challenged. And it wasn't even about more money at that point. It was like that routine was just getting to me. And I honestly just wanted to be home with my babies more. And I didn't have to worry about vacation days and other for me to attend the volleyball practices in the middle of the day if they happen. I was just done. And so I was like, well, you know what? It's either I get another job, which means having to deal with getting to know the culture, a new culture, and proving myself, or I leverage the fact that I've been at this job for so long, right? And see what other opportunities there are. So
I'd like to backtrack just for a moment, because this is really juicy stuff. So I would love to hear from you when you said this to your boss. I don't feel fulfilled. I would like to do something else or whatever. What was their reaction?
Oh God, you're stuck. Martine, you're stuck. It's either you stay here and you're stuck, or you go get another job.
So it's interesting. The reason why I asked is I think it's important, especially for my Rocketeers that are in this like decision making phase, right? To understand that it would be very common for your boss to not react very well, right? So either and this is where like I'm going to throw out a couple of scenarios and you could kind of tell me what your experience was. So either they feel like, oh, how cute that you want to feel fulfilled. Like it could be a demeaning sort of thing. Like, really, you're making big bucks. Like, that's like a fantasy to feel like your heart could be fulfilled, right? So that's one reaction I've heard people have. The other reaction is just saying like, sorry, it is what it is. This is all I got for you. Or you need to go somewhere else. The other may be kind of a mixed sort of reaction because your boss may have desired the same thing, right? So as you're saying it, they may be triggered by the fact that you're saying it. The other option is if you share that you want to be an entrepreneur, or that you're thinking like, I don't know, maybe that's an option depending on your relationship. Some people have that relationship with their bosses. They may be kind of like, good luck, you're really going to do that or whatever. The bottom line is, I think very few people will be supportive of figuring out how your heart can be fulfilled, because in general, corporate, it doesn't work that way. So what was your experience? I'm sorry I went off on that, but I think it's a big thing because it's scary to go into the conversation not knowing. But if you know, then you could kind of strategically say like, my boss is probably going to be the one that's like this. Then you need to figure out, how to address the conversation, first of all, of being fulfilled, not even of sharing that you want to
Yeah.
be an entrepreneur. So tell me what your experience was.
Yeah, I mean, prior to even exploring having to be vocal about it,
Mhm.
I knew that I had to do a switch in mindset. I knew that I had to put myself in a position saying to myself, Martine, don't be comfortable with this anymore. You have to learn to know that there's more to this life, right? And so I had to do a switch in mindset, work in myself first before even being
Mhm.
vocal with my boss with that. And you're absolutely correct. I could tell during that conversation that he thought to himself, well, who are you? How special are you to think that, you're going to work and be happy to work? At the end of the
Yeah.
day, working sucks, right? And in my head, I remember saying to myself, yeah, it sucks for you, but it doesn't mean that it's got to be my norm. And so after
Mm.
the conversation, I realized that, yeah, there was no other opportunity. In fact, I carried on the conversation with HR, which gave me the option of another position that would fulfill my heart, but yet
Mhm.
give me a pay cut. And so that was not an option.
Great.
I realized that at the end of the day, the only person that's going to give me what I want is going to be myself. And so
Mm.
that is when I paid very close attention to that firing desire of doing the things that I was doing with this corporate job, my lifestyle, private school for the kids, a mortgage, cars, and asking myself, how else can I do this?
Mhm.
Is there another way? And I just went on that quest.
Mhm.
And every single day, I put in 1%. And every single day after that, I added more 2%, 3%, 4%. I stumbled on a lot of things that were not serving me, yet I developed and I just started that journey. And today I'm very excited and confident to support other moms with school age
Mm.
kids sitting at their cubicle for 5 years plus and saying to themselves, you know what? I'm not sure that working every day towards another promotion is what I want to do.
Yeah, and so that's interesting. So your focus now is supporting those women, those moms that have children. I mean, basically it's your story, right? It's your story. You understand it. You've gone along that path. I know that when I first met you, we also kind of talked a little bit about the difficulty of having overall family support for this transition, right? Like for me, my parents busted their ass. They were in no way rich. They were in no way, making six figures or close to that. It was, and so I'm fortunate. I must say, I'm fortunate that from my parents' perspective, they've always been like, whatever you want to do, we're going to support you. But I could feel from the external, like whether it's family, friends, or whatever, one, that whole concept of like, you're not fulfilled? I mean, literally, even my accounting my accountant was like, you're leaving your job, like, look at how much money you're making. Are you sure you want to be an
Mhm.
entrepreneur, right? And so it's very difficult, especially when if our families have struggled. So tell me a little bit about your family and your upbringing, because I think that's an important part of the story.
Absolutely. It's very important. It's extremely important, because I grew up part of my life in Africa, and I'm from Haiti. I'm Haitian. I speak French and Creole. I'm bilingual. I made my
Mhm.
way, yes, ça passe. I made my way up to the United States to pursue my higher education. And so what I want to say to this is that, yeah, my mom was pretty shocked when she heard that I wanted to go into entrepreneurship very seriously. Listen, I tried other things prior to making that serious decision. I was in direct sales. I was Pampered Chef representative, a Malaluka representative. I tried things. And so being an entrepreneur and having my own business was always something that was something that I always wanted to do. And so yeah, my mom was questioning my decision because I have a college degree, I have a master's degree. I've always done well for myself when it comes to education. I've worked myself up the corporate ladder, and she questioned all this investment of energy, and coming from, just like you shared, a family that's not a family that's entrepreneurial by all means at all. My
Mhm.
father was a teacher. He was in the military at some point in his life. Like, I come from a place where work hard, do well, and we're going to be proud of you. And my mom was proud of me. And when I had the conversation with my mom, and for you listening or watching, listen, your family and friends are not going to understand your decision. They will support you. And the thing is, you have to explain to them, in order for them to support you, what it is that you're doing. They don't know. They want to protect you. And so I had to sit my mom down and say, listen, mom, this is what I'm doing. I'm not throwing my master's degree in the trash. And I'm not throwing my corporate executive
Mhm.
experiences in the trash. In fact, a lot of what I'm doing as a business owner today, I catch myself very often thinking, oh my gosh, that's what I used to do at work. I get it. Building my own team, managing my team, making sure I follow up on all emails,
Yeah.
being in Zoom calls with several people. That's AKA being in the boardroom with your VP. I'm just saying, like, if you're concerned about, you know what, all this money, I did all this, and now I'm starting fresh and new. Yeah, you're starting new, but all of this is going to carry on with you as you
Mhm.
start investing and developing in your own business. At least that's been my experience. And so I'd say educate your family and friends. All they want to do is protect you, and they have no clue what's in store for you and what you want. They think you're spoiled for thinking that you want a fulfilled life, and they have
Yeah.
no idea what you're in it. So explain to them. Take time to explain to them. Give them a chance to ask you questions and explain to them what you're doing.
Yeah, and also even the chance to transition, right? To transition to understand, and like you said, it's there may be some, like, let's say if they had the desire but they never fulfilled it, right? They could get to the point of saying, I understand, and I'm so excited that you're taking this leap, right? There could be, I understand, and I'm a little envious of that you're taking it. Or they could literally be like, I don't even know what you're talking about. I will never understand.
Yeah.
And your goal is to get them to be, but I still love you and I'm going to support you anyway, because sometimes it's just literally a way of thinking that to literally say, but you don't understand is actually right, because
Yeah.
they don't. So
Yeah.
they're not going to get there. It's just a matter of like, I just need you to trust me and to love me and support me along the way, because it's not going to be easy. It's going to be a roller coaster. Like in the corporate world, we have some level of consistency, structure, right? The goal is to ultimately get your business to that consistency and structure, but you have control over it. So what's interesting, before we kind of get deeper into this, is for my Rocketeers out there, if this is resonating with you, right? If you've been like, oh my goodness, I don't know if I could do this anymore, I feel like I'm capped out, or it could be hey, I know I can move up in the company, but that means I'll be traveling more and less available for my family. And it's like the bump doesn't necessarily match the lifestyle that you want. There's so many reasons. If you're thinking, but I'm too busy for this shit, like I can't, how am I going to add starting a business to this process? I want you to halt and say, it is possible with structure. It is possible with guidance. It is guaranteed possible. And I'm going to start with offering the value bomb that Martine put together. We all know in every episode, my objective is to inspire you. If this is like resonating with you, inspire you, but have you do something immediately as a result. And Martine put together this really fantastic value bomb called the 5 mistakes, right? It's don't make these 5 mistakes as you're planning this transition. Okay. It's a fantastic resource for you to start evaluating. I'm going to tell you right now how you can get it because I don't want you to pause. All right. Pull out your phone. Please text RF-escape, right? So RF for rocket fuel -escape, all one word, to 411321 if you're in the US. Okay. 411321 is the number. RF-escape. It's going to ask for your email address. If you've never texted one of these catchwords, please provide it immediately because instantly in your email, you will receive, don't make these 5 mistakes, right? And then as a result, what I love, Martine, is that in there you put an exercise. You shared the mistakes, but the objective is for them to actually do something about it. Take a half an hour, take an hour to look at, if you haven't gone in this direction yet, what are the 5 mistakes that that you want to avoid? Maybe you have gone in the direction and you're realizing that you've made some of these mistakes. That's why it feels so hard, right? For my international listeners, I love you. I don't want you to miss out. So please text RF-escape to +1 909 741 1321. That's +1 909 741 1321. The message is RF-escape. Please provide your email address. So while people are doing this, and I really, hope that if it's resonating with you, like pull over. You're driving,
Love
pull
it.
over, text, right?
Yes.
And the reason I'm passionate about it is because I know that even with intention, right? We'll say, oh, I'll listen to it later and it doesn't happen. This is important enough because if it becomes hard, you may give up on your dream.
Yeah.
Right. And so tell me quickly, I don't want to spoil the whole thing, but tell me about some of maybe 2 of the biggest mistakes that you talk about that you shared in this piece.
Yes. One important one is to make sure that you draw the line between your work and your passion project. The last thing we want to do is have you go into this journey of building your business successfully, right? And also jeopardizing your current job. You work so damn hard to get to where you are. Listen, I'm speaking to you.
Mm,
If you've been at your day job for 5 years plus, chances are you're at an executive level. And the last thing I want is for you not to get that promotion you've been working on to get so hard, right? And so it is imperative that you draw the line between your passion project and your work. When you go to work, go to work. If you're listening to this and watching this in your cubicle with headphones on, that's fine. I've done it. However, I want you to be present. Turn it off as soon as your boss comes over, because the last thing we want is a trip to the HR and have you in trouble. Why? Well, because this job is your silent investor. You need it. You
yes.
have it. And yes, honey, use that payroll to invest in yourself. All right.
Yeah. All right. We
Very
need to pause
important.
on this. Silent investor. Okay. This is a huge mindset shift because what happens, first of all, when you mix the time, you wind up getting pissed at one thing taking time away from the other. And chances are when you're really, I love how you call it your passion project, right? You're really bubbling and adrenaline is flowing when you're thinking about like planning your business, right? So you're going to wind up being pissed at your job for getting in the way. But the mindset shift that you just dropped right, is when you think of your business as the silent investor, you're hopefully going to respect that time just as well, because like you want it to work well, you want to be still be promotion worthy. I love it because you were mentioning you typically work with high achieving women, right?
Mhm,
So
mhm.
it's like you don't want that to slack.
No.
Keep that going and then compartmentalize it. So what did you do? Like is it like, okay, if you want to plan your lunch hour, plan your lunch hour and commit to that? Like how would you do it for folks that say, well, once I get home, there's no freaking way.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, and the second mistake that I talk about that you'll receive when you text is part of that is making sure that you plan ahead. You don't want to do this without planning ahead, because when you plan and your goals and your launch of your business, you are kept accountable, and you're going to do money making activities all day every day, even that counts your lunch hour. And so
Mm,
to plan ahead and stay accountable and knowing this is why I'm doing this, draft your resignation letter. Okay, open up that Google Doc and start writing that resignation letter, because it's a matter of time for you to turn it in. And so, what does it mean? Lunch hour when everybody else is chatting about the fact that this girl is getting the promotion again, and you're pissed off and you're chatting with everybody else
mm,
about it. Instead of that energy, well, guess what you could do? Spend that hour of your lunch hour and invest in yourself. Tune in to Rocket Fuel. Tune in
mhm.
to great resources
Yeah.
online, or even a book that you're reading, or perhaps you've already started your journey. Go live inside your Facebook group community if you have one.
Mhm.
You
Mhm.
have to really create time when you're very busy with a very demanding job and you have kids. It's not that I don't have time. I can't buy time. We all have
Mhm.
24 hours, but what we can do is create more time. But to get there, we have to set the plan. We have to set the launch date. We have to keep ourselves accountable for something. So
Mhm.
that way
Mhm.
our creative thinking is going to kick in, and we're like, oh, I get it. I could use my lunch break, or I could wake up an hour and a half earlier to
Mhm.
start working through my business stuff. So I'm at ease at work, knowing that my business is
Yeah.
working. That's why I love the internet. I love digital stuff, because everything happens while you're at work. So it's
Yeah.
really cool. I love it.
Yeah. No, I think that's really, really important to mention. The other thing um, is the value of accountability, right? So this journey will be hard,
Mhm.
right? I'm not gonna like candy coat it, right? But so worth it. So worth it, right? So the thing is, it's important immediately to be connected to community of people that are doing the same thing, because when you're not there at lunch, guess what? There's going to be a dynamic that changes. All of a sudden, you were there bullshitting at lunch, and everybody
Mhm.
is like bitching and complaining about all the stuff that's happening at work, and now you're not there for that 1 hour. Why? Because you're
Uh-huh.
you're committed to something else, and if you feel comfortable, you may be sharing. That's what I'm doing. There's going to be a lot of like interesting flow about that. Once again, I think it's really important to expect it so that you're not like shocked. But when you're in community, you get to talk about that. You also get the accountability of other people. You get the accountability of an expert, right? To say, yeah, it's hard. Guess what? Freaking wake up an hour earlier. Do it. I know it's like, "Oh, woe is me," whatever. It's so easy to talk yourself out of waking up an hour earlier. It's so easy to talk yourself out of, doing an hour of work once the kids go to bed, right? Because 'Cause you're freaking exhausted,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
But it's also not about running yourself into the ground. It's also somebody reminding you about the self-care because guess what?
Yeah.
It's gonna so I'm a big supporter of leveraging experts. This is why Rocket Fuel exists, because I want people, whether you're in business or in life in general, if you want to do something to bust out of mediocrity, the best way to do it is to get a coach, an expert, somebody that is going to support you. But I love that you've also developed community around this so that people can feel like, oh, there are other people that are at the same point as I am. Because Martine is like, she's already done it. But guess what? We're all on a journey.
Absolutely. And I'll tell you, it's all worth it, as you mentioned. And I'll tell you why it was all worth it for me. As I was working through showing up online and building my business while working this day job, I was planting the seeds. It's a journey. And guess what happened? I was ready to let them go. But guess what? They let me go first. I was part of a major, massive layoff.
Wow.
But the good news is,
you must have been like, whoop, whoop.
what? I sat down. I remember that day. I hung up the phone and I was like, oh, I'm fortunate now to say to myself, I have the choice to either go back to my 20-year-old resume and upgrade it and make it cute and nice and go on and do this thing again, or go on my business full time. Which one do you think that I picked? The one that's giving me now the opportunity to walk my son to the bus stop and have my morning walk right before I go home and have my breakfast. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Priceless. I cannot compare this to that 6-figure income traveling to India. I just can't.
Totally agree with you. You just made me like huge smile because I loved being able to take Mila, my daughter, to her school bus this morning. And, you know, my son in stroller, and it was like a beautiful day. And like, typically I would have already been in work, totally had somebody else be doing those special things that I want to be part. Now it's a matter of priorities too, right? For me, and because I don't want to like, you know, make anybody feel bad. For me, that was really important for me to be part of that process. Emotionally, that was important for me. For others, it's okay. I don't need to be there for, you know, for the bus stop, but I want to be home a little bit earlier for when they come back. Or maybe I just want really awesome weekends. Or maybe I'm okay with the school thing. Like somebody else could take care of that, but I want to be able to afford great vacations so we could spend family time there. It's about crafting what it is that you desire, but you need to believe that it's possible first.
Yeah.
For you to begin crafting it, right? So I love it. And tell me, as you meet these women that are going through this process, what's the biggest point of resistance in transitioning?
Number one is time. And second thing is the urgency, the anxiety of how long is this going to take? How long is this going to take? It's not even about, you know, for them, at least for the ones that I've spoken to. And even for me, in my own experience, the money was interesting. And I'm like, yeah, I want the more money. But it was more about how can I juggle it all? What's the magic answer to that? Right. So the biggest issue is time management. And also with that comes the anxiety of how long does it take? When am I really going to start having a client or 2 clients or 3 clients? Is this consistent? Is this secure enough? Because the one thing that we learn from corporate is that you have the benefits, you have the IRA, you have the this, you have the 401k, you have all this beautiful stuff. And it feels so easy to just clock in, clock out and get out for 40 hours plus. It's super secure, you know. And the reality is we've learned over the years, especially most recently, that corporate is not that secure anymore.
Exactly. Our perception of the security of it is not as much. I mean, there are layoffs, there are shifts in general. And it is scary. The other thing is just came to mind is that I know that in general, when I was in corporate America, there's this end goal of retiring, you know, and when I think about it now, I literally, maybe it was a couple of years ago, I had another entrepreneur actually ask me, who was a good friend of mine, ask me, so when are you planning on retiring and stopping this? And I was like, this is interesting. I don't think of retirement because I'm happy. Like I like doing what I'm doing. So yeah, maybe it's going to modify and change along the way, and I have the power to do that, right? And to plan for that. But I don't think of retirement anymore because I enjoy what I'm doing, and my lifestyle is an integral part of that. And I reflected, I was like, maybe for her, she wasn't planning it around, she was driven by the money she was making because she's extremely successful. But maybe lifestyle wasn't winning at that point. So she was in her mindset of like, when I get out, right? So it's just an interesting opportunity to know that your mindset will shift and it will take time, because we typically think of the end game being retirement, and it's a little scary when entrepreneurship, unless your plan is to retire, then you need to incorporate a savings plan and and
Yeah.
all of that stuff. Oh my goodness, this is so exciting, and I just want to compliment you and say, I mean, it's evident why you're rocket fuel, right? It's evident rocket fuel for so many women, and I'm honored to be able to be here to tell your story, to share that message, to try and inspire those rocketeers that that need to hear this message. So I'm going to first share your catchword one more time and then ask you for some final words. So if you are in the US, please pull out that cell phone now. I don't want you to forget. Text RF for rocket fuel -escape to 411321 and provide your email address if it asks you. If it doesn't ask you, that means you've texted a catchword before. So yay, we know who you are, and it's bam in your email. Check any of your folders, your promotional folders, spam folders, whatever. It's in there guaranteed. Don't make these 5 mistakes. It's going to ensure that you will be able to plan your escape from the cubicle, but also still be promotion worthy. And I love that this is important for you, Martine. If you are outside of the United States, please text RF-escape to +1 909 741 1321. If it doesn't work for you, make sure you use the +1 909 741 1321. With that being said, do you have any final words for our Rocketeers?
Oh, Rocketeers, I want to tell you that I truly want to congratulate you for watching this, listening to this all the way to this point, because to me, that means that you are invested. You are invested to change and achieve what it is that you so desire. And with that, I want to support you and congratulate you and tell you, honey, keep at it. I know it's not easy, but the one thing I tell myself every single day is to scale with precision. Don't get caught up with what you see and what you hear, thinking that you're going to get it tomorrow. I didn't wake up like this yesterday. I decided to do something while sitting in that cubicle, and I took action. So keep taking action, keep listening to great content like this one, move forward, because the universe has your back. If you didn't read this book, you need to read it. Gabby Bernstein, awesome. She changed my life. I met her. I'm a picture of her. I'm just saying, she's awesome. But for real, the universe has your back. Keep at it. Scale with precision. Give yourself grace. You got this.
All right, guys. Have a rocking day. Bye now. Oh, yeah. Thank you so much for joining us. Look, every one of our episodes is boosted by a value-packed keyword called a catchword. Yeah. This allows our audiences to text to receive even more value from our guests. So take advantage of that great value. And if you share your expertise by guesting on podcasts or TV or speaking in front of live or digital audiences, then you're leaving anonymous fans behind. So go get a catchword at catchwords.com, KETCH words.com, and use podcast20 as a promo code for 20% off your setup fee. Look, make sure to rate, review, and subscribe to the Rocket Fuel podcast so you never miss your jolt of rocket fuel. Until next time, adios.